What is at stake is a big idea, a new world order.
This is a 1990 Book Notes excerpt where Brian Lamb interviews authors Dan Raviv and Yossi Melman. The book title is Every Spy a Prince, The Complete History of Israel's Intelligence Community.
Plots against the state of Israel, political plots and others.
You tell the story about how you tried to find out what they call the Mossad when they deal with publicly?
I thought it was a reasonable question, but the trouble is you can't pick up the phone book. There's no Langley in Israel that you can look up, CIA, or in our case, the Mossad. We thought we should ask, what shall we call it in English? You can translate the Hebrew words, as I said, Mossad is institute, but when they write a letter to their friends in the CIA or the British intelligence, what do they call themselves? It took a while. It was a matter of asking the Prime Minister's spokesman. The best you could do, because officially the Mossad is under the Prime Minister's office. And I think he sort of wondered why you want to know and all that, so we explained. And he came up with the Israeli Secret Intelligence Service. I mean, if it were to have initials, it would be ISI.
In this old interview, Yossi Melman's book, Every Spy a Prince, The Complete History of Israel Intelligence Community, is discussed by various panelists. When asked what the Mossad does, which is not heard in the clip, the reply is presumably avert plots against the state of Israel, political plots, and others. A reporter from C-SPAN relates a story of how he tried to find out the English abbreviation of the Mossad that the intelligence community in Israel uses to refer to itself, saying that you tell the story about how he tried to find out what the Mossad call themselves when they deal with British people. He says, when you pick up a phone book, there's no Langley in Israel. Langley is where the CIA is located. Where you can call it the CIA. We thought we should ask, what should we call it in English? The translation of Mossad is institute, much like the CIA is called the company. But when they write a letter to their friends in the CIA or the MI5, what do they call themselves? It took a while because I had to ask the Prime Minister's spokesperson, but the best you can do, because Mossad is officially under the Prime Minister's office, and he came up with the Israeli Secret Intelligence Services, ISIS. Now, ISIS serves the globalist agenda perfectly, which I will be explaining in some upcoming videos, because there's so much going on. I really want to start getting back involved in making these videos. See, ISIS is causing a balkanization in the Middle East. Especially as oil resources are going to start to dwindle, and they already are. Oil is going to be worth more than diamonds, my friend, and especially to militaries. Access to oil is a military necessity, as any student of history knows, and as Hitler found out. So if there's any future military conflicts like a World War III scenario, every single major power is going to be jockeying like crazy to get their hands on the oil in the Middle East and secure that region. Not only that, but it's going to make them a tremendous amount of money. And if it really comes to it, whichever military controls the oil supply is going to be the one that's going to be dominating the world and dictating policy. So anyway, other than that, there's an idea that called Greater Israel. And this is certain Zionist Jews who believe that the real Israel extends from the Euphrates River in Iraq to the Nile River in Egypt. And if you don't believe me, then just consider during the 1967 war that Egypt annexed the Sinai. So they were trying to create the Greater Israel. It's not a conspiracy. They annexed the Sinai Peninsula from Egypt, and they were going to integrate it into Israel. So by balkanizing the Middle East with groups like ISIS, Israeli Secret Intelligence Agencies, services, by the way, these Al-Qaeda terrorists, which were radicalized and funded by our American allies in Saudi Arabia, which the British set up and have had an agreement with ever since their country was founded in the early 1900s. These Saudis started funding jihadis for the Americans to fight Russia in Afghanistan. And I don't know whether it's a case of blowback, whether they turned on their masters, or whether they're still serving their masters. I think it's the second one. I think that the Al-Qaeda networks that we created are still serving the Western intelligence apparatus. Let's go with apparatus. See, if Israel wants to be the dominating force in the region, and they already are militarily, even though they like to bitch and whine about being so surrounded by so many different enemies and blah 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 blah. They have the most advanced military technology in the world, and they're not really threatened by anybody. And plus, they have untold amounts of nukes, and they could, you know, nuke anybody who would try to threaten them. So the whole idea with them, you know, going to war with Iran it's just about not going to war, but trying to warmonger with Iran. It's just a big power play over who's going to have the hegemony in the Middle East. And so they play the Shia off the Sunnis, and they play the secularists off the Muslims, and they get them all fighting each other. And with this divide and conquer strategy, they have succeeded in eliminating their main rivals, which, by the way, as issued by not issued, but as illustrated in another blog post which I made. By the way, I made a new blog. It's called alternativeviews.blog.com. You should check it out. I'm going to be updating it regularly. There's a paper written by a Zionist called A Clean Break, in which it says that rather than pursuing a comprehensive peace with the entire Arab world, Israel should work jointly with Jordan and Turkey to contain, destabilize, and roll back those Arab worlds. And it called for basically the reshaping of the Middle East, and you can see a map of it here. If you type in the Ynon plan, Y-N-O-N plan in YouTube, so you can see now. Finally, we've been in the dark for like a decade now, thinking, oh, it's about 9/11, it's about oil, it's about blah blah blah. Nah, it's about Israel. It's always been about Israel. And by the way, these Israeli traitors, which are no fucking allies to us, they provide us no strategic benefit, as CIA analyst Michael Shore has said. They provide us no strategic benefit. Actually, they're a strategic liability. So actually, they are currently subverting our government, taking our foreign aid that they don't need, stealing our technology. There's more spies, there's more Israeli spies in America than any other fucking foreign nation. And that's because they are a group of people who have loyalty only to themselves, and they don't care about anybody else. So if it suits them to destroy the whole Middle East and to balkanize it, and if it makes it easier for them to project power and to eliminate their rivals like Iraq. Iraq was actually listed as the primary piece to this so-called a clean break, a new strategy for securing the realm. Iraq was seen as the main threat. So what happened? We go in and we reduce Iraq into 3 different states. There will be a Shia state, a Sunni state, and a Kurdish state. And this is all predicted well before ISIS even came into the picture. And where is ISIS? That's exactly where ISIS is. So, yes. Do you really want, you know, your brothers, your fathers, your sons to go and fight wars for Israel? That's a question that you should really ask yourself. But anyway, basically everything that's going on right now in the Middle East, literally everything is Israel, with of course America providing the muscle, because the Israelis are too sneaky and devious to do it for themselves, and they want to keep up this image of themselves as a democracy, blah blah blah. What kind of democracy has such racist policies? But anyway, if you would like more information, please check out my blog for esoteric, the Esoteric Worldviews blog. It's called alternativereviews.blog.com. Thank you very much. I'll be making more videos in the future, and peace.